And Joe Holiday stayed with me for 20 years. And that was still the North Carolina lineage because Joe was Steve Hale's high school coach and he worked at our basketball camp here. And I just loved who Joe Holiday was. Thanks, partner. Ben Miller, Neil Darty, Jared Hass, C.B. McGrath, Hubert Davis, Brad Frederick, Sean May, Kendall Marshall, Eric Coots. No one has had that quality and level of help and care and love that you guys have given me. After I hired Jared and CB, I made a decision I would never hire anybody as an assistant coach unless they'd played for me. That's how strong Jared and CB were. When I think of Eric Coots, I think of somebody who can do everything. And when I think of Eric Coots and Hubert Davis together, I think they're the only two people that can love this university as much as I do. And Steve Robinson, 26 years as a security blanket and as a brother, and words cannot say what I feel about Steve. The administrative assistants, because that's what they tell me to call them as opposed to secretaries. Some of them tell me much more strongly than others. At Kansas, Suzanne, Debbie, and Joni. And here at North Carolina, Jen Holbrook and the current staff, Nadia, Cynthia, Kay, and Maggie. Cynthia didn't come in today, but I think they got her the information. But they took care of Roy Williams, but they also took care of Carolina basketball. I don't know what to call these other people except say thank you. Steve Kirshner, Clint Gwaltney, Doug Halverson, Jonas Serration. Those four guys are absolutely incredible and work so hard to take care of many things, especially me. There's no way we would have had the success that we've had without those guys. I'd like to thank the other coaches here at North Carolina. I love coaches. You realize at North Carolina, we have 9 coaches, have had 9 coaches who have won national championships. I love that. I do. I love coaches. Some people portray coaches in a manner I never see. We all got into coaching because we loved our game, wanted to teach, and wanted to help young men develop or young women develop, not for the money. We did it because someone helped us and we wanted to help others. I came back to North Carolina for $2,700 a year, and I sold calendars and drove copies of Dick Crumb's football show and Coach Smith's basketball show. And a lot of the coaches around the country did it the same way. So many, I can't say them all, but I truly admire and respect and lucky to call them friends. Tubby Smith, Lon Kruger, Tom Izzo, Mark Few, yes, Bob Huggins. I always say that he's a little unusual, but I love him to death. Jared Hass, Mark Turgeon. In our own league, Mike Krzyzewski and Jimmy Boeheim, already in the Hall of Fame, and they made me work as hard as I could every day. And Leonard Hamilton, who needs to be in our Hall of Fame. Younger guys like Josh Pastner, Chris Mack, and Tony Bennett. Oh my gosh, what a coach Tony Bennett is. I've been lucky because those guys push me. I've also been lucky because old guys like Nolan Richardson and Bob Knight helped me immensely when I was a young coach. And some we've lost, like Coach John Chaney, who would always hug me, and Coach John Thompson, who was one of my mentors. And yes, Dean Smith, Bill Guthridge, and Eddie Folkler, who taught me everything I know. Coach Smith, I've always said, was the best there ever was on the court and was even better off it. I could never come close to matching what Coach Smith did, but every day I tried to make him proud. Bill Guthridge was my freshman coach. I wasn't very good, but I loved to practice, loved to play. And Eddie Fogler took me under his arm when I was a part-time assistant and taught me everything that I could possibly need about recruiting. Those guys were really something, and every day I hope all three of them felt like I was doing what they wanted me to do. I'd like to thank the former players, a different group, Bob McAdoo, Jeff Lebo, Kenny Smith, Don Johnston, and Greg Campbell, because they wanted me to coach their sons. That really says to me what they thought. The good news I have for you is that, believe it or not, I'm just about done. I never had any day that I didn't give my absolute best, not one single day. I cared deeply for my school. I cared deeply for every player. And I'm really proud of what we accomplished. If I can get through this period here, I'm going to try to put aside the fact that I no longer feel like I'm the right person and try to concentrate on the fact that I'm really proud of what we accomplished. The last long period of time, I've been focused on the fact that I just didn't think I was good enough anymore. But if I can get through today, I'm going to focus on that we had some fun. My family allowed me to coach and believed it was the best thing for me to do. They encouraged, supported me, cheered, and cried. They cared about what I was doing passionately. Wanda, Scott, Kimberly, Katie, Kurt, Aiden, Court, Kason, and little Miss Kinsey. I love you. Wanda is the best partner I could have ever had for 48 years. Most of the time I kid around and say that I've allowed that woman to live with me for 48 years. It'll be 48 years this July 28th. She was the best partner I could ever have had. I don't know what the future holds. In some ways, I'm very sad, and as I said, I'm scared. But I'm also really happy and proud. We did okay. I was coaching great youngsters, winning a few games, and loving it with my heart and my soul. We did okay. And to borrow from Lou Gehrig, I'm a big-time Yankees fan, and it's nice to see Art Chansky back there with how the Red Sox have been struggling. Lou Gehrig said, and I say again, I feel like I'm the luckiest man on this earth. Thank you.
Coach, thank you very much. Go ahead, Ryan, CL, Brendan to that mic, Luke, Bob, Greg to that mic over there. CL, you'll start it up. Wes, can you raise Coach's mic again, please?
I know some of you guys in the back were getting sleepy, but I appreciate you standing up like that. Thank you. Okay, guys, I'll try and, was I close to 18 minutes?
I don't know, you may have to run a 22 or something.
There was a day.
We'll get started. CL first. One thing, I'm not big on telling you what you cannot ask. If you have a question, though, for Bubba about who the next coach is or what the next coaching process, that's what we're going to do at 7 o'clock tonight on the Zoom. So just a matter of saving time. Just please refrain and just hold that question until the Zoom is 7. I appreciate that. CL?
All right, Roy. You've said plenty of times that when Coach Smith retired at 66, he regretted taking that step. He thought he still had coaching left in him. Did you revisit that discussion that you guys had, and what insight, if any, did you take from it in making this decision now?
Yes, I thought about that, and I told Coach, as I said, that I was going to coach as long as I felt like I was healthy enough to do it. But also, I was really bothered by the mistakes I made last year and the fact that I felt like I could have done a better job coaching this team and this year. And as I said, my guys never wanted to make a mistake, so I'm not blaming them. It was me. I didn't get them to do what I wanted them to do. But uh, I did think about that conversation with Coach, and I made it past 66 because he made me promise not to stop at 66. And I'm 70. I'm not going up to the senior tees yet, so I think I'm okay. But I am very comfortable with the decision. I wish I had had better thought process to make me do it, but I'm very comfortable with the decision.
Over here on the right, Coach Greg Barnes.
Hey, Roy, you mentioned being old school, so I want to start there.
Greg,
Loyalty,
I'm sorry, you cut out. You said I mentioned.
you mentioned being old school,
Oh, yeah, okay.
so I wanted to start there. Loyalty has been a defining characteristic of your coaching career.
Mhm.
There are changes coming to college basketball in the form of the one-time transfer rule and name, image, and likeness that seem to run counter to the concept of loyalty. Did that conflict of ideas play any role in your decision?
You know, Greg, last summer I ached quite a bit because of the mistakes that I thought I'd made. And this year, I felt like again that I could have done better. And there's no question that I'm old school. And, there's been a couple of things happen, the transfer portal and things like that. But they didn't make the decision. They just confirmed what I mean, I love our players. Walker Kessler, I love Walker Kessler. Uh, uh, Sterling, Walker Miller, Garrison. I mean, I can go down. KJ's here. Uh, it was strictly what I said. Nothing else. They may have confirmed my thought, but it wasn't name, image, and likeness. I mean, I tell my players all the time they've got it made. Sean May, when he was playing here, it was a lot tougher those days. But I can't stand in the front of progress, whether I believe it's progress or not. It doesn't make any difference. But those things and some things that happened. I mean, I felt like it was we played miserably against Wisconsin, but I coached that game, so I coached miserably. Those things just confirmed it, but it wasn't. I'm not running out just because I don't want to talk about name, image, or likeness. I don't even understand what the heck it still means, but it sort of confirmed it. But it was just the fact that I didn't feel like I was any longer the right person.
Before I go to Ryan, those of you sitting, if you have a question, kind of give me a high sign so I can pick three more on this side and that side when we get going. Ryan Wilcox, DTH, go ahead.
Coach, you mentioned a number of former coaching colleagues. I was curious what the conversations with those people have been like in the last few days and specifically the last few hours.
I haven't spoken with those guys. Mark Turgeon, I did speak to Turge. I mean, again, you think about Mark Turgeon, Steve Robinson, Jerry Green, and Kevin Stallings. I wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for those guys. So Turge called, and I happened to have the phone with me, and I took his call. But, Mike Krzyzewski sent me a text. Uh, uh, Kirsch says he has some comments from all the guys or a lot of guys. And it's just that I love coaches. I mean, I can't imagine. I know that you guys think I'm crazy. I can't think of a better group of guys than those guys I named and hundreds that I didn't name. I mean, Coach Tinkle from Oregon State, they have a great run in the NCAA tournament. And after we won 900, I got a handwritten note from him. I mean, they really care about kids. I really believe that. Coaches our age, and I'm a lot older than some of them, not older than Jimmy or Mike, but I think coaches they're my heroes. My mother was my hero. But Buddy Baldwin was really, really something for me.
Over here, Luke, on the right.
I had a couple questions sort of about this, the process, listening to you talk about it. Is this something that you had considered last summer? Because it sounds like, and let me just tack on a couple quick ones.
Yeah.
It's because it's all kind of connected. Last summer, and then was there a precipitating event in the last month or two that brought you to this point? And when you kissed the floor, did you know that we were coming to this day?
Okay. 3 or 4 years ago, I was worried about some things. I was worried if I was losing my mind, worried I was getting old. I remember Doug Moe was a great Tar Heel, and Coach Smith loved Doug Moe to death. I said, Doug, I'm forgetting people's names. And Coach Smith told me one time I was better than anybody ever known. And I said, have you looked in the mirror? Because he was the best. And Doug calls me Wah. He said, Wah, I got 6 grandchildren. I said, hey, you, come on over here. He said, that's getting old is all that was. But I had talks with Bubba and Kirsch and Clint to make sure that, I wasn't losing it or anything. And I felt like that they helped me get to grips with that. But it was really, Wanda wanted me to quit in 2009. And she really wanted me to quit in 2017, but I survived 12 more years. So I felt like I did all right. Last summer was really hard because, yes, I can say injuries and all this kind of stuff, but I gave you an example of a couple of decisions. We didn't foul, we lost. We did foul, we lost. And even this year, the first game not the first game, the championship game in Asheville against Texas, scores tied and there's 20 seconds to play or something like that. And I sent the team out there, and Steve Robinson, I grabbed him and said, if we weren't so young, I would double team the ball right now, but I'm afraid we'll give them a wide open layup. And I never had that kind of ideas. And so, Matt Coleman dribbled the clock out and shot it in, and they beat us. And those kind of things really bother me. I hold them on for a long, long time. Nobody remembers, well, a couple of people in here may remember when Dudley Bradley stole the ball from Clyde to Glad Austin and went down and dunked it. They came down, and Kenny Matthews had a pretty doggone good look from 3 that could have won the game. They forget that when we beat Michigan State in Carmichael, Magic was the great player, but Jay Vince was good, and he missed a wide open 12-footer that could have won the game. Dale Solomon at Virginia Tech missed a free throw with 0-0 on the clock. And like I say, that was Coach Smith was a better coach. And but those things really bothered me last year. And then this year, like I said, I didn't feel like I was touching the right buttons for my players. And I see Andrew and KJ and Walker and Sterling, and I'm not blaming those guys. I just didn't feel like I did the job that I wanted to do. And so the last part of the question, I think, Luke, is that all that stuff came to a head after the Wisconsin game. And like I said to Greg, just some other things sort of confirmed that it was the right thing. But like I said, Wicked Wanda wanted me to stop in 2009, so I got 12 more years. So I felt like I did all right.
So just when you kissed the floor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, did you know at that point, or
No.
did you suspect at that point?
No, it's strange because I didn't plan that. You remember how good our home court was for us this year, except for the Marquette game. And I was thinking about, I really appreciate you. After I left Kansas, I was wishing I'd kissed the floor at KU, Allen Fieldhouse, because the home court advantage was unbelievable. But I was walking off the court and I started to yell to the guys, but I did a poor job of coaching the guys that day because remember, I was trying to say thank you to the fans. And we did a terrible job of our chorus line, thanking and bowing. It was symbolic of the coaching job that I did during the course of the season. I couldn't get them to bow together, but I was just walking off, and it was right here at the center circle, and I just wanted to say thank you. You know, and I'm the guy that when I was at Kansas, I used to go jogging on game day and go pat the tombstone of Dr. Naismith and Doc Allen. And last year, and years past, Clint Gwaltney, I've gone up to Coach Smith's gravesite since I've been here. So I'm a little weird.
Over on the left, Brendan.
Roy, congratulations, first off, on
Thank you.
the career and the retirement. You mentioned how difficult the conversation was this morning with the guys. I'm just wondering, since this wasn't something that had been, predetermined weeks ago, how did this decision impact the conversations you've had with him in the last couple of days? And also this morning, can you just give us a little more insight into what that experience was like for you?
Well, last week after we lost to Wisconsin, I started having meetings on Saturday night with 3 guys, I think then, and Sunday night and Monday and Tuesday. And I think I got through all the players' individual conferences. And then our players have basically been here since July the 6th with Leaky. What you guys have 3 days at Christmas and 2 or 3 days at another time. And so the classes are virtual. We wanted them to go home and then bring them back like we've talked as a staff, like April 12th or something like that, to start individual workouts again. I didn't want them to come back for this. I'm having a hard enough time when I look over there and see those guys. But I didn't want somebody else to tell them. And so the current team, we did the Zoom, and I asked all the different coaches to call different people. And I see Marvin Williams standing back over there. Never been around a more appreciative young man than Marvin Williams. Didn't even start a game for us. Told me the only thing he wanted to do was win. And fortunately, we won a national championship. And Sean May, who told me that he was coming back, he thought the rest of the guys might be interested in leaving. And I remember we won the national championship because Sean May was the best player in college basketball. And we won it on Monday, came back Tuesday, and on Wednesday he called and said, Coach, do you think my stock can get any higher? And I told him he wasn't a steer or a horse. It's not stock. But I agree with you that I think you're in the best position. And he had my blessings. And it's just hard to look over there. So the telling the current team was really hard. But seeing and talking to Jackie Emanuel when he came in to see me today is something that I'll love for the rest of my life and feel very, very fortunate. And just think about how lucky I have been. And it's because of kids like that. Wes Miller came closer to playing his potential than any player I've ever had in my life. But I'll remember the fun times too. CB, you look better with the mask on, son. CB was one that came and told me it could be a walk-on at Kansas. And he drove from Topeka to Lawrence every night the entire summer to pick up games. It's about a 35-minute drive. And Marvin, you can get on CB because he came over every night and he never got picked for a single game the whole summer. But it impressed me that he kept coming back. So, Brendan, it's a little bit of that. It's just, I feel like I've been so fortunate and so lucky. That was a long-winded answer that I don't even know if I answered your freaking question.
All right, if you 6 will sit down, and Art, Lauren, and Barry to that side. I'm sorry, Bob, go ahead. And then Andrew, after Bob, Andrew, Brett, and keep your next. Keep them quick. Coach, you checked in at 27 minutes according to ESPN stats, so we'll keep them moving.
I'm never really concerned about ESPN stats in my entire life anyway.
I teed that one up for you.